First assignment for Com 1081, Music and Pop Culture. It's also going to be my first vlog ever, so I'm really excited. There's a lot to talk about, so without further ado, let's talk about Stardom. Ask anyone from any generation who the most popular musical stars on the planet are, and you'll get the same answers. And if you've been living under a rock, well, you're currently watching some of the biggest pop stars the world has ever seen. The importance of these stars and others like them is paramount in understanding stardom as a concept and the way it affects popular music. Now, in this video, I'm going to look at some key elements that make up stardom as a whole, and these include the significance of personae, which I'm going to pronounce as persona because it's a nightmare to say, the economic structure of the popular music industry, and the promotion of pop stars as brands. But first, let's take a look at how to define what a star is. Lee Marshall's description of stardom as a qualitative and not a quantitative category is a good place to start. It's a great working definition of what a star is because it suggests that what makes a star isn't just their output, but their uniqueness. And Marshall goes on to say this: a popular music performer becomes a star once his or her cultural meaning becomes relatively stable, once they have some kind of meaning independent from the music he or she has produced. So what we're seeing here is that a star isn't just characterized by metrics such as albums, ticket sales, and awards, or what Jessica Evans would call achievement or expertise. They're also defined by their cultural value. Let's take a look at one of the most influential stars the world has ever seen. When you think of Michael Jackson, you don't just think about the 14 number one hit singles, or the 100 million records sold worldwide, or the 405 recognized awards. And I doubt many people even know that Michael Jackson is the first and only artist to have 5 of his solo albums sell 20 million copies. Because when you think of Michael Jackson, you think of the moonwalk, you think of the attitude, you think of the one white glove covered in rhinestones. The king of pop is a cultural icon with cultural value that goes far beyond his music alone. He transcended to a level which Shuka calls symbolic status. So the best way to define a star, and definitely to separate them from the average musical performer, is by the greater cultural meaning which they hold with their fans and the world in general. However, Shuka also makes another great observation later on. He says, and I'm going to read this word for word because it's a bit lengthy, the important question is not so much what is a star, but how stars function within the music industry, within textual narratives, and in particular at the level of individual fantasy and desire. Stars are invested with cultural value and are popular because they resonate with particular lifestyles and cultures. This is a really important quote, I think, because Shuka is saying a couple of things. First, he's agreeing with Lee Marshall that stars are really defined by their cultural value, and he uses the example of the phenomenal connection stars can have with fans. And second, he's alluding to another really important aspect of stardom: persona. Now, persona is a term that's widely used to describe a pop star's public image, and it's a powerful thing because it gives fans something to relate to, which, as we learned from Marshall and Shuka just before, is one of the most important characteristics of a star in general. But Marshall actually says something directly about persona which builds on this even more. He says, a star is a person, and this is the source of a star's effective power. The successful projection of the right public image is a key determining factor in how a performer gains those crucial aspects of stardom, such as cultural value and relevancy, and how they really transcend from performer to star. Through persona, stars connect with their fans at a level that is more than merely musical or surface-based, if you will. It allows them to connect at the level of shared identity. Okay, so to explore this in more detail, let's take another look at an example. Lady Gaga is the queen of persona. She burst onto the scene almost overnight and gave outcasts a voice. By being proud to be herself, she made it cool to be different. She started a foundation called the Born This Way Foundation, which just sums up her persona. This is why she has such a cult following, not just because of her music, but because of the persona she cultivated. Now, the reason I think Gaga is a great example is because by promoting being different and being yourself, she proves that it's the very things that make stars human that makes them so relatable, especially to their fans. It's kind of that age-old style versus substance idea. The way performers really transcend to stardom is by connecting on a deeper level with their fans. Now, here's where the lines get a bit blurry, because with advancements in technology have come various new avenues for the cultivation of persona. Social media in particular has given rise to a distinctive new way for pop stars to cultivate persona through connecting with fans on a deeper level. This is called performative intimacy. Alice Marwick described performative intimacy as this: a practice by which celebrity practitioners reveal what appears to be personal information to create a sense of intimacy between participant and follower, publicly acknowledge fans, and use language and cultural references to create affiliations with followers. A great example of this would be Beyonce's Instagram announcement regarding her twins, but I want to stick with Gaga to explore this because I want to go back to that style versus substance idea. Gaga's pasta making shots on Instagram depict her as just a normal person who makes pasta on the weekend like everyone else. It's a snapshot of what appears to be an intimate moment, but it's completely cultivated. It's an engineered connection. So by giving her fans substance rather than style, she's cultivating a connection through persona. But it's a false kind of substance because it's manufactured, or at the very least, it's not entirely genuine. Now, Anne Jerdzlev and Matt Mortensen explain performative intimacy as a means by which pop stars can merge intimacy, access, and authenticity with promotion and branding. So it's this marriage between the fake and the not fake, or this kind of constructed authenticity that gives stars that in with their fan base. But I think more importantly in that quote from Jerdzlev and Mortensen is the word branding. Great word to describe performative intimacy, because that's all it really is. It's a branding exercise. Now, this leads into the last thing I want to touch on, which is the promotion of artists as brands and how that coincides with the economic structure of the music industry. Commercialization of the music industry is something that's obviously been happening over a very long time, but there's one major development that's really driven what we would call the commoditization of pop stars. The 360-degree record deal, unlike traditional deals, entitles labels to recoup their initial investment in an artist through all of a pop star's revenue streams as opposed to just record sales. This gives labels a vested interest in promoting pop stars as global brands and coincides perfectly with the increasing demands of fan bases who want more and more access to their icons. Thanks to this development and others like it, pop stars have become ubiquitous in pop culture more generally and have become more like companies with multiple revenue streams and commercial opportunities. So, I want to say again that aspects such as persona, performative intimacy, and the promotion of pop stars as brands, as well as the economic structure of the music industry, all play a vital role in defining what stardom is and the role it plays in the music industry. But I think above all else, stardom starts and ends with the stars themselves. We don't remember Beyonce's twins, or Gaga's pasta, or the Justin Bieber dental floss we may or may not have owned. We remember the moonwalk. We remember the 12-year-old Canadian boy who stole our hearts. We remember Elvis's pompadour and his energy on stage. Stardom has and always will be about stars and the effects they have had on the industry, the fans, and pop culture in general.